Hello and welcome to our next CyberLab session. We're going to be configuring additional network LAN segments in this lab, and this will be step one in which we unpack the machines and start them up. So first we double click to open the folder, then we double click to tell VirtualBox to start unpacking. Before we unpack, we need to change two settings. The first setting is to change it to include all network adapter MAC addresses. And the second is to turn off the checkbox that would have it importing hard drives as VDI. We don't want it to do that. Then we click Finish. This will get VirtualBox to go to work. While it's unpacking the appliances, I'll point out that when we get the two machines unpacked, they'll show up in the window over here, as they did in previous lab. And we're going to look at the network settings for the router firewall. The lab may crash if you don't first open the network settings, because the machine that this device is running on, the host machine, has a certain physical hard drive and a certain network driver associated with it. By opening the settings and clicking OK, the network settings, and clicking OK, we will be able to have the virtual machine synchronize with the physical machine. So we're going to click to router firewall settings. Router firewall device. Then we click on settings. Then we go to network. And then we go to advanced. You'll see here it says 0 A, B, C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If yours doesn't say that, then you've incorrectly unpacked the machines and you need to go back and remove them and start over. It might be easier just to disconnect and reconnect to the machine and let it reset, or you can select these two and tell it to remove, deleting all files, and then unpack again. Either way. You may notice that there are four network adapters. The first one is the bridged adapter, and this is the one that it's important that it use the same driver as the physical machine, because this one can reach out to the internet. The second is what we call the OfficeNet segment, and it's part of the internal network from the VirtualBox perspective, which means VirtualBox is keeping track of some network for this. It also has assigned MAC address. Third adapter is for the DMZ, and that's still a demilitarized zone, which is a commonly used architectural design pattern for security. And adapter 4 is for SecureNet, where we're going to place some particularly high value machines that we don't want anyone to access unless they're authorized. Notably, the OfficeNet segment will be referred to as LAN, L-A-N, in this lab, and BFSense thinks of it that way. And it's the same segment that we configured in the previous lab. Okay, so then we click OK, and then we're going to start up the router firewall. This will take a minute. Well, it'll take a few minutes, but not too many. I'm going to let it start. And you'll see a lot of commands running through the terminal window as it starts up. But I'm going to pause the video here. You can pause your video if you're following along, as I hope you are, in the instructions. And you can pick back up when your machine has started. Okay, actually it didn't take that long to start up anyway. You know you've started up properly because it has this menu here and it says enter an option. Okay, it's running. We're actually going to minimize this one because we'll be using this machine indirectly, because we'll be talking to it from this machine. We'll be configuring this router from this machine, but we don't do this from the interface, the physical virtual interface of this. We won't use this menu to reconfigure things. We'll use the web configurator and access it remotely. So I'm going to minimize that. Then we go to this one and we start it. This machine is akin to an administrative machine, such as might be used by an administrator on a network. This machine will open Firefox to access the web administration console for the router, and we will do our work there. Importantly, this machine should have already been assigned a static IP address where the DHCP service running on the LAN segment, the OfficeNet segment, sees the MAC address of this machine and assigns it a particular IP address. And that's part of our protocol here, is to make sure that we can recognize this device and allow a user using this device to do things that other users aren't allowed to do. Now, because I'm trying to keep the windows small here in order to make the video better, I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to say Scaled Mode so that the machine is completely visible there. You don't have to do that probably if you're using the machine yourself, but you might want to. Again, I'm going to close these messages to get them out of the way. And we're going to verify that we have the correct IP address. To do that, we click on this little picture of two computers talking to each other, and we go to Connection Information. And we'll see one of these fancy assigned MAC addresses, 001 AD 1234567, not a random number, obviously. And we'll see that it has an IP address of 10.0.1.101, and that's just what we want it to have. So there you go. You've correctly completed step 1 of the lab.